what a time, man.
It was good having him in. I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah. How many?
I think we said we crossed paths when I was at bar, so 4 years ago or something.
You probably crossed my path as well.
Yeah, he came in. I guess I gave him free Jello shots. I do not remember. I guess it was during Pride.
Dude, nothing. I think nothing explains bar better than free Jello shots on the Pride Parade.
Dude, and to be brutally honest, we had those Jello shots. Like, I wish we had Corey here, which was the bar manager at the time.
Yeah.
But we had Jello shots for like 2 months straight. Like it was like, oh, there's more Jello shots in the fridge. You guys better eat those bitches because they're gonna go bad. All right.
And you're just like, okay, I guess, man.
Fuck that place. Fuck that place.
Yeah. Yep. I know we're gonna keep bringing it up though.
I know.
Well, we have to.
It's true.
We can't get away from it.
I know.
You know.
I'd like to get someone in from there during then. That was Trish is in Seattle.
I mean, we could get Brooklyn in maybe.
Yeah. Someone.
That's the only person that I think we could actually get in contact with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a great time today.
It was a good interview, and I liked what he had to say about kind of like the new, not the new normal, but like what he thinks is going to happen, and it was a very positive outlook.
Fucking loved it. I loved it. To be honest, like I love looking at it like that, and I didn't think. I don't know why I never even thought of it like that.
Yeah.
But to be real, having it as a borough it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. I mean, and it's been so hard because I've been trying to be positive. Mm-hmm. But it's been really hard to be positive in these times, you know, with everything that's going on. At least in a concrete way.
Right.
You know, and I think that the stuff that he had to say was very concrete. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't just like this kind of off in the distance fantasy. It was like, look, this is the reality of the situation. So really kind of the logical next step is A, B, and C. And you'll see it when we get into the episode. But it's like, yeah, I loved what he had to say, and it was fun having him on. I think that we're going to start to realize how fun it is to just talk to these guys.
Well, and seeing different perspectives.
Yeah.
It's great because we saw it one with Rebel, and then this was more. I don't know. It felt. I feel like there's a lot more promise in the industry after this episode.
Yeah, I agree. Which has been hard. It's been really hard to like
stay positive.
Yeah, see that promise in everything that's going on, because every day there's a new, you know, staple or big restaurant or nice restaurant that is closing for good.
Oh, right. And or closing just because of the corona.
Yeah.
I mean, you just never know. And then when they close for the corona, you never know if they're going to come back from it.
Yeah.
So, like, seeing this positive outlook is huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And I really, I thank Kevin for coming in, because it was a really nice big eye opener for me personally, and I feel it will be for our guests too.
Yeah, I agree. It was what a great interview, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I have great things, great hopes for the future too.
I do too,
because it's like. Yeah, like you said, it's a different perspective from Jack, because, you know, Kevin was the CDC over at Paz, whereas Jack was, you know, he's like kind of this seasoned executive chef, and now we're seeing it more at our level, right? And the next person that we're going to have on is going to be, you know, he owns all these different places, and it's, I'm so excited, man.
Yep.
I'm really, really excited. Yeah.
It's going to be good. You guys are going to enjoy the episode.
Yeah, I mean, please enjoy Kevin. I know we did.
We did.
Yeah, so I was impressed by Brunson's Pub, man. I had no idea they had a patio like that. You know?
It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they had vines going everywhere, and you drive down Case and you can't even see it.
I couldn't see it at all when I drive down Case.
No, it was like a little secret garden. It was.
It really was
awesome. It was awesome. even if it was a really busy street, you wouldn't be able to tell.
It's pretty nice.
It is really nice.
And I was relatively impressed with the selection of food that they had too. You know,
Yeah.
it's when you think pub, you just don't necessarily think too much of it, especially on the east side.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think they kind of
I mean, I got soaked fries, so I mean, it was still pubby.
yeah.
But I feel like there was other stuff I should have probably got.
Well, you said that somebody that you worked with
Yeah.
was working there and
Yeah.
maybe had some influence
One
on
of,
it.
one of my old Padawans
Uh-oh.
from back in the day, Isaiah, works there, and I don't know. He's doing great.
Did he work with you at Tria?
No,
Did you work at Tria?
briefly.
Okay.
I worked with him at Hillcrest Golf Club.
Okay.
I forgot about Hillcrest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave him his first job as a dishwasher when he was 18, and then brought him up to a prep cook, and then made him a line cook, and
How long were you?
Oh,
at
wow, so he was
Hillcrest?
I was there for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
super your Padawan.
yeah.
He was
Like,
he was-
you like raised him from
He was
birth.
green. I mean, not only in last name, but just he was green, and man, he's come a long way. He's done great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Huh.
Did he move around with you when you moved from Hillcrest to?
No,
you went from Hillcrest to Paz.
I went from Hillcrest to Pazzaluna,
Yeah.
but then I ended up working up at Tria when the chef up there passed away.
Okay.
I went up there and helped him out for 3 months. And he
When
was up there.
when did he pass away?
Oh man, it was like April of 17, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He died of an aneurysm, right?
Yeah, I died in his sleep.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
the guy who would like carry on the line.
yeah.
and
Brian
stuff?
Bosser was his
I
name.
love that kitchen, man.
Yeah.
He was an incredible chef, incredible guy.
Super cool little
Yeah,
kitchen.
super cool. And he was great to work with. I mean, we worked together at company events and things like that. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
great guy. So I went up there and helped out when he passed, and yeah,
I love that place.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah. That was my first restaurant job.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a good restaurant to work in.
Yeah, Grand Marché, and then I moved up to Sauté, so I could look out that window.
Yeah, it's nice. And they had a French range top there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like a galley style kitchen where they have like multiple lines?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow,
And like
that's really cool.
there's these little windows in the kitchen that look into the dining room to kind of like this fake outside inside facade.
Yeah.
It was
cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah. Kind of similar to the Lexington, or
It was similar.
yeah, the same style with that
grill.
window.
Yep. But the Lexington it was bigger and brighter window.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I
the-
kind of felt like at the Lexington we were kind of acting. We were like
You were-
actors.
you were on
We
stage.
You know, like
sure.
you had to make sure that you looked really well, and when you were cooking, you had to remember that people are on the other side of that window looking at everything that you're doing. They can see everything
Yeah.
that you're doing.
Well, and
so.
then you learn that way too. I feel because at Tria you learned like not to touch your face and not to like be fucking stupid online.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and,
You know.
and, you know, working in open lines at Pazzaluna, I worked at
Yeah.
Cafe Lurcat. They all have really
Oh, yeah,
big open
Cafe
lines.
Lurcat.
You
I
worked at
forgot
Lurcat,
you
I
were
didn't
at
know that.
Lurcat.
Yeah, I spent 4
that
years
was before
working
Enjoy.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the big open line and like the biggest challenge is just keeping all the cooks from not swearing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is the biggest. I remember
Yeah.
at Enjoy that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like it was like, hey, like
You got to keep it down.
keep it
They're
down.
right there.
They used to. We used to get yelled at for clicking our tongues.
Yep. Well, Enjoy all
Really?
the time,
All the
clicking our
time.
tongues.
It's like it's like the 2000s rendition of Stomp. It was great.
Kenny got pretty hard with that.
It was good. It was good.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
So you ended up at Paz. How long were you at Paz?
So I was there for about a year and a half, and then I took a little break, moved on to North Carolina, got married, then moved back, and I was there for about a year again until COVID happened and we shut it down.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's funny how people always go back to Paz. Like I worked at Paz twice.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's unlike any other restaurant I've
It
ever
really
worked at.
is.
You know, I've worked at busy restaurants. I've worked at small, like 2-man line restaurants. But Pazzaluna was it was a beast. Every
was.
day.
And it was just great.
It was
great.
It was.
Man.
Well, it was huge. It was a huge place.
Yeah.
And you guys, I mean, it was consistently, I'd say elevated Italian food in downtown St. Paul. And what you were saying earlier was like it's so event based that you would get like just smacked all at once.
Yeah.
It's not like it's kind of like with a dinner service. You have turns, right? And it like trickles in and trickles out. But when you're doing like when people are coming out of a show or they need to get to a show, it's a very different animal. It's just like you just get everything at once.
Turn.
Yeah, exactly.
It really turned into one big push, and then like a smaller one later. When you had, we opened the doors at 5. There's a wild game at 7. There's an Ordway show that starts at 7:30. Right. So I mean, all 300 people want to be in at 5 to 5:30, and you pack them in and get them out.
Wow.
Grab that hole.
Yeah.
Just like yeah. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. It is.
That's the truth. Yeah, I'm kind of interested. So you talked a little bit about like your relationship with the St. Paul Hotel and the St. Paul Grill and like how you kind of knew people, but Seth has kind of talked about it like there was some interchange, but it's not not everybody's coming over, and some people like it was unionized forever, and so it's like what was your relationship to them, like kind of like in the Morrissey group kind of thought process?
Well, I mean, it was really nice because you had 2 separate concepts right across the street from each other.
Yeah.
So you would hire in staff for one, and sometimes it'd be like, you know what, they're a better fit at this other restaurant, so you kind of make a trade. We ended up with, scores of cooks that came over from the hotel.
Yeah.
And then we would give some of ours back sometimes too.
Sometimes,
not always. It was a lot of times we would find cooks at the hotel that they'd send over. Because we were the same company, we would kind of get like a pool of resumes, and sometimes they would read one and they're not a good fit for the hotel. Maybe they'd like to do something over at Pazzaluna, so we'd pick them up and go with them.
Is the hotel still unionized?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as
That's
I
what
know,
I thought.
yes.
Because when I was there, it was.
And Pazzaluna was as well.
Oh shit! It was.
What?
Everyone except for the kitchen. So the dishwashers, the servers, the bar staff, they were all union except for the cooks.
Except for the cooks.
Oh, okay.
I remember that.
Wow.
Yeah. So the hotel is currently owned by Travelers Insurance. Pazzaluna used to be owned by Travelers Insurance. Then MHC, Morrissey Hospitality Company, bought the space and the rights to Pazzaluna, and then operated it as an MHC property still. But it was the only one that was actually owned by MHC.
So they do own the building.
They
own the space.
They own the space. They don't own the entire building, but they do own the space.
Yeah, because the building's huge.
The building's huge. Yeah, and there's apartments above it, and
there's everything.
Yeah, and there's a school right next door.
I forgot what apartment building's there, but something.
Yeah, so I can't remember the name.
Well, because Seth and I are trying to figure out why it closed so early and what, like, I don't know. I just feel like Pazzaluna is one of those places where it would at least have taken a longer time without any business, or waited till we started to open back up, or what? Do you have any insight onto that, on why that would happen, especially if they own the space, right?
I don't have anything solid. I just have my
theories,
and my guess is they've been talking about redesigning, redoing, reconcepting the space for a couple of years now. So I think they're going to take this opportunity to turn it into something else.
Oh, okay.
To use the space, turn it into. I'm sure it's still going to be like an Italian concept, but
weren't they talking more like a to-go kind of thing, like kind of Concetta's?
So they have the window on 5th Street.
Yep.
That looks at Kincaid's, where the bakery is, and so they've kind of been talking about turning that into like a to-go pizza thing. So like turn that into a window that opens, so you can just come up, get something to go.
Yeah.
Kind of capture on that lunch crowd, because we were only a dinner restaurant, so we never did anything for the lunch.
Well, when there wasn't anything going on, there wasn't anything going on.
No.
Like anything.
No. And when I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen with the fate of downtown. We were talking earlier about how I think downtown's going to change from more work focused to living, dining, entertainment, things like that. So I think what we're going to see is downtown neighborhoods turn into more like neighborhoods where you're
Right.
going to have shops and you're going to
Little
have
markets.
your neighborhood restaurants that are going to open up and things like that. And because all the downtown office space, I think is going to
Become
anyway,
apartments.
To look
pretty
at
much.
it like that, I
Yeah.
think is a super positive way to look at it.
Yeah.
For the sole fact that it's like, oh my God, if it's a small community, the food coming out of there is going to be fucking awesome.
It's going to be
Yeah.
great.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
It'll be like a borough kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
So-
I mean, it's tragic. We've lost a lot of iconic restaurants from the downtown area, but I think you're going to see new, different types of restaurants, less
Yep.
bar pub, less fine dining, more comforting, more
Yeah.
home feeling, kind of to support the neighborhoods that are going to grow out of this. A lot of the downtown office spaces, a lot of businesses have been shown that you can work remotely. So a lot of the downtown office space, I think, is just going to go away. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the big companies are still going to need some kind of corporate office, but then instead of needing 5 floors, they're going to need 2.
Right.
So if we reduce,
And is it going to be downtown?
Right.
Like, do they need something that expensive?
right,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
So I think we're going to see a shift to more living downtown, and then with that will come more restaurants.
I mean, it's a super, it makes me feel much better thinking of it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
than like, oh my God, every fucking restaurant's going to close and all of our career that we've done is
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
I'm never gonna cook again.
We're
kind
never
of
going to
thing.
cook.
Yeah.
We're never going to serve people nothing.
unless we deliver pizza.
Right.
You know.
Right. So
And-
like,
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of friends and colleagues of mine have said they got into this industry because they knew that they would always have a job.
well, that's the number one reason I got into this industry, that I knew I could go anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere. And I made sure that I could go anywhere.
Yeah,
And anywhere I went, I would always have a job.
yeah, and you can do this anywhere in the world.
Right.
Right.
I remember when the recession hit in 2008, 2009.
But we didn't care.
No, people were still going out to eat. Some of the smaller restaurants suffered. The neighborhood restaurants, they suffered then. But like the fine dining restaurants stayed open, maybe not going strong like they had
In their heyday.
in their
Right.
Yeah.
heyday. But they stayed open. They still served people, and we still had jobs. This is a brave new world we're living in now.
Yeah,
though.
it's crazy. Well, I there's a lot of people who have been, messaging me since, especially since we started the show, like, what's going to happen. It's very, this isn't, it's just intense change, right? So it's like kind of like going along the same line of like the Indian scriptures, where it's like you have Vishnu, who's taking care of things and he's keeping everything the same, and then Shiva has to come in and destroy, and then Brahma brings about new change, right? And that new change is supposed to be something bigger and better, and that's kind of what I try to tell people. But from what you're telling me now, it's a little bit more of a like concrete, we can actually visualize a better future.
Yeah.
And we talked to Rebel a couple weeks ago, and he talked about how things are just going to change, and I think it's starting to become not centralized, but like the elevated food and the really fine dining that's like incredibly expensive needs to be brought down so that it's more accessible. And then at the same time, as we talked about earlier, like things like food trucks and pop-ups and stuff like that is starting to elevate.
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit of a equilibrium that we're starting to find, I think, with this new world. Oh yeah, dude, East Side living, baby. Payne Avenue, dude.
East Side.
Payne Avenue. You weren't here for the day that we had there was the parade. Well, it was the 4th of July.
Oh, well, that'll happen.
And it was
I was like, oh God.
yeah.
This is
What are we gonna do?
Protest? No. Okay.
now wasn't the best time to record.
We're on the 3rd floor. We're safe. We're safe.
Yeah, that's another thing too that people I think forget about is there's all this political unrest that's going on that's also affecting the industry, right?
Yeah.
It's like, especially for places that own property out in Minneapolis, and then they own something, in the suburban area or downtown St. Paul, it's like they're going to be hit if their building burns to the ground.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why people aren't even going out in Minneapolis as much, anyways, is because they think that it's just a pile of rubble, right? Yeah, for sure. So we talked a little bit about like where Pazzaluna might be going. It's, you said it's changing concept, and it's going to be working on with this new apartment complex kind of movement. That, at least that's your theory, right?
Yeah.
So what's your plan, man? What are you going to be doing?
My plan, you know what? I got, my wife is due in November.
Yeah.
Nice.
Woo! Celebration, man.
Thank
That's
you. Thank
awesome.
you.
Super
Big
good.
So I think,
Hands full.
yeah, if something comes my way, I've been keeping my eyes open. I haven't been rushing anything. I haven't been.
And nor should you.
No,
I mean,
and-
right now,
I'm excited to get back to work, and it's just I'm excited to get back to the environment that I'm comfortable in. I want to get back to
I'd love to
Slanging
just
and
smell-
banging.
I'd love
slaving
to
away in the
smell a
kitchen, for
Just
10 hours. Like
yeah.
I miss. I mean, my kitchen at home. I've reorganized it probably 3 times since March.
Yeah.
I went out and bought all these little jars so I could keep
But
all
it's
my
awesome.
dry ingredients. Oh yeah, it's great.
You're printing
It's
out
great.
prep lists and stuff.
I did print myself out a grocery shopping list. It's an order list.
I can only assume that you did.
Yeah, I mean it's exactly an order guide.
Yeah.
But it's great. It makes everything a lot easier. I've been enjoying that. I've been enjoying cooking at home, trying out new things. Just
I think that's
Researching.
What the thing, that's what's great about right now.
Yeah.
Is that the chefs that are out there
Yeah.
taking a break,
Yeah.
they can actually do research, and they can like take a break and just take a breather.
well, and just try
Yeah.
to find a new way of expressing yourself through food.
One fucking live life.
Yeah, I mean,
Like for real.
yeah, it's been great.
Yeah.
It's
no.
been great. I'm gardening. I'm trying my
Have
hand
you
at
ever
gardening.
gardened?
No,
Right.
no.
Yeah. What a great year to start too. I mean, the weather's
been
been
great.
perfect
The weather's-
for it. I've only had to manually water my garden one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been so fantastic.
Most mornings I wake up and I'm like, I gotta go out and garden. And then you open up the window and it's raining. You're like, ah, perfect.
Yeah, right? Right.
Thank you, nature. You took care of it for me.
Yeah, I'll come back and like tie my tomatoes up after a storm, and that's pretty much all I have to
Yeah.
do.
It's so awesome.
You know?
So I mean, I just been having a lot of fun, just growing a lot of random things, and when it comes in, it's like, all right, what are we gonna make with this? And then making something, and my wife's loving it. She likes to tell people that she has a personal chef now.
Right.
Um,
Which is always a bonus.
if I had someone to make me breakfast, lunch, well,
I know when I was.
I don't wake up enough in time for breakfast, but like lunch and dinner, if I had someone to make me lunch and dinner,
You will be. You will be.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh man,
Yeah.
you have no clue.
I can't wait. Mornings?
Oh.
Yeah, let's do mornings.
You're not a morning person.
No.
I remember that actually. I remember you're not.
No.
No.
Well, he'll text me at like 4 a.m. because he's just up.
Yeah.
That's a night person, though.
Well, see, no, I'm a night person that turned into a morning person.
Because
It's
of
the worst. And
Yeah.
I think you're going to be the same way. Because
Probably.
to be honest, like now I'll go to bed with them, but I will wake up at like 3 a.m. and I'm up. Like no later than 4. And I'm up. Like I've been up since 4. Like
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
That's what I tell him to.
Yeah.
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 But we're not trying to scare you. It's
And
just-
not, no shit, dude. And no shit. This is the kicker. This is the kicker. I don't drink coffee until they wake up.
Why?
right.
It's too loud. I don't want to wake them
Oh, wow.
because it's just going to cause more problems.
See, and again, like, okay, so I don't have any kids, so I'm an expert.
you
on
will.
parenting.
You will.
So, I
you
read,
don't want to make any noise.
I read something that when you have a kid and you put them down for naps,
Be as loud as fuck.
because then they learn to sleep.
So we have
when things
we have,
are loud.
we
So
have one
if
of
you're
those sound
if you tiptoe
machines.
around,
We have a sound machine.
okay.
But I mean, I'm careless as fuck. And I mean,
yeah.
you're taller than I am.
Yes.
So I can only assume that you're just as careless, if not more careless than I am.
Graceful like a cat.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna fail, just like I did.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks.
I'm like a
But you know
ballerina. I
something?
just tiptoe
Do you know the
around
sex? Do you know the sex yet?
Yeah, it is a girl.
Oh,
I'm sorry to say
man.
she's a girl.
I
Yeah.
can't tell you anything. I can't tell you shit.
I know. I'm pretty excited though.
Are you?
Yeah.
I'd be scared shitless.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
Like I would be scared shitless.
No, I can see the happiness in your
I
face.
can
when
see
you
the
talk
happiness
about
too.
It for
I
sure,
can.
yeah.
The love I see.
Yeah.
But
like I want a son. Like I
God,
think
I'd
that would
be
be fun.
scared.
I think it would be fun to have one of each. I think it would be a fun little.
I don't know
just-
about one of each.
Let's
I'm
see.
cool
Let's
with
see how
one.
it works.
Cool with one.
Yeah.
Ike is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. See, one of each is nice though, because then you never get to say like, oh, I wonder what would have happened if
how
I
about
had
the second time
girl,
you don't
or-
get the other one? How about if you get another girl?
Yeah,
Then you try again.
You try again.
No, two, then done.
But I just heard you say one of each.
I mean, I'm gonna one of each, yeah, but stopping at two. Like,
Yeah.
if
It's not
it
worth
doesn't
it like
happen one and
that.
two,
Yeah.
then we're having two girls.
Yeah.
You know, it's just something like going back to my parents always said, never be outnumbered by your children.
Well, and that's true.
It's just
My parents weren't.
Well, like if your kids start fighting, like one parent can each take a kid and separate them, and then
Oh yeah.
now they're not fighting.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if one person has two, when you hold them apart,
Yeah.
stop fighting.
Yeah.
Could you think like, do you have three of them and two of them are twins? And
See,
you're like,
that's
you're
my
like,
fear.
You're like going like this.
That's
and
my
you're
fear.
like, motherfucker. You're
My fear,
you're
dude,
My
like
my
call 'em?
barber, he had the first kids that he had triplets.
Ooh,
Fuck.
see, and like we were saying for a while, our neighbors across the street have twins, twin boys that are 4 or 5. Sorry if I got
Something.
strong. 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Young. They're young.
They're young.
And we were saying, wouldn't it be great if we had twins? Because in my mind, bam, one shot done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, no. Like,
I
no.
couldn't even imagine. Like, for even the mother, like breastfeeding. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine like two of them, like freaking boom on the udder.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
That would just be tough.
That sounds
Yeah.
intense.
I mean, no way. I feel bad for the
I'm
mom.
fine with
I
one
feel
at a
bad
time.
for the mom right now. Any twin out there.
My fear
I'm
is,
sorry.
though, is that the second round
Will be harder.
will be twins.
Oh,
Because
will
you're
be
like, I
twins.
want two.
Dude, Sunday is going to be exciting.
Sunday's gonna be great.
Yeah. So, for everybody that watches the show, Seth and I got invited to go to a farm to table pop-up event in Princeton, and we're going to be doing interviews with the farmer and interviews with some of the chefs. And then we're going to be doing a tasting. There's going to be a lot of content that we're going to be coming up with, and a lot of it is going to go on the Patreon.
A lot of it's going on the Patreon.
A lot of it's going to go on the Patreon. There's probably going to be some, paywalls in some of the episodes, or, we might just put the whole tasting on the Patreon. We want to get some advertisement out for them too, so there will be some available for free. But I think now is it's a good example of the kind of content that we're going to have for everybody on the $10
I think it
level.
totally is.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you haven't joined the Patreon yet, it has been growing. We had 2 new people sign up this week, and at that level, at the $20 level, we'll give you a shout out. And so Micah Valentiner and Linda Jones, we want to thank you for joining the Patreon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Again, at the $10 level, you can find new episodes, extra content, and then at the $20 level, you get a free mug. We have mugs in, and then you'll get signed up for our Minnesota recipe program. Again, www.patreon.com / Minnesota Well Done. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
But also, it's like we're chefs at heart.
Yeah.
And so, we've had to really kind of change our personalities around a lot of the stuff, because it's like, Seth will text me with a problem, and my first instinct is like, okay, yeah, I'll meet you at the studio in 5 minutes, and then we're gonna, we'll be at the studio until we figure it out, and then, oh, it's a video editing. We're just we're perfectionists,
Sure.
and we're very I don't know. Thank God we get along, because it's like if.
Well, 4 restaurants will do that. 4 restaurants.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
A lot of
So
restaurants.
yeah, we've
lot.
we've worked together a lot, you know, and it's
A
definitely
lot of
saved
ups
us.
and a lot of downs.
This fucking guy.
Yeah, hey, it's both of us, right?
It's true.
It's both of us with the
It's true.
issues, you know.
Well, I think all three of us know that I have. We're good.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know that there's anyone in the industry that doesn't have issues.
right.
true.
No, it's
I would always laugh whenever you'd hire someone to be like, "Oh, that new guy you hired is crazy."
yeah,
We're all crazy.
right.
Why the fuck do you think we're here?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And
So-
it's like places that do like, you know, this is a dry kitchen, and then, you know, they hire somebody who isn't dry, and it's like it makes it really hard,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like, dude, I've been in your situation, but also you can't work here. I'm sorry, you know.
Mhm.
That's been something now that I'm sober that's been really hard to kind of just like, I feel for these people,
Yeah.
right? But it's like also you are, you know, you think I'm part of the Epstein conspiracy, so like you need to go,
Well,
right? Well, that was my thing.
look at your shirt.
Oh yeah, I know, I do look, you know. Dude, you just been holding that in, dude, all day.
All day,
I
all day.
guarantee you, you've been holding it in
Oh
all
God,
day.
all day.
Dude, whatever, dude. I look great in this shirt, right? And just because it's a little bit Florida,
Unfortunately, you can't see the pants.
here for everybody at home.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Strike
Ring
a
Brothers
pose.
called. They want their lion back.
He looks like one of those tents that they use to fumigate homes.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Whatever, man. I'm bringing pizzazz and flavor to the show. All right. You need to calm down with that.
Looks great.
Yeah.
Well, what was the first thing that you said when you came? He said you looked like a pedophile.
Oh yeah, with the mustache. Yeah.
It's classic.
Well, I didn't have a mustache before. This
Yeah.
is a whole new thing.
Which
This
is why you were
the
allowed
spice
near
stash.
schools.
It was the only reason I was allowed near schools.
Yeah.
Now it's questionable. I mean, I
Yeah.
live right next to a school, but
That's
you know,
weird.
I don't go outside. You know,
It's weird.
unless it's
because
at
you're
night.
supposed to do that. You're supposed to go introduce yourself to the
Right,
neighbors.
like, hi, I'm new to the neighborhood.
I know.
Instead, he's like just like peeking the Venetian blind. All you can see is his mustache through this Venetian blind, and then his eyes
Yeah,
for the next
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Just hops in his panelless van and goes and picks up his kid from school. Like
It's
that's
true.
it's normal.
It's pretty normal. I
Yeah.
mean, my kid's not in school yet, and it's Corona. But when he does,
When he does, then it'll be fun.
then
Yeah.
it will be.
Yeah.
It will be. It'll say free candy on the side. Obviously.
Obviously.
Oh man. Oh man. Yeah. So we made it to episode 4. Canceled.
Nope. A New
Yeah.
Hope. We're a New Hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of New Hope, hey, have you watched any of like the new Star Wars stuff? When I saw the stuff on whatever that was, Disney maybe,
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I wonder if Kev has seen any of this shit.
I haven't. I don't have Disney.
I
so
don't even believe
I
you
haven't.
right
I
now.
haven't watched The Mandalorian or anything.
Don't you have like you have a tat, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I have a Star Wars tattoo. yeah.
What tattoo is it?
I can't
Is
even
it
believe
the
it. It's a-
rebel signal?
It's a yin yang of the Imperial and Rebel.
It's pretty
symbol.
dope. It's pretty
Oh,
dope.
that's a good idea. I like that. Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
That's-
I got that when we were working at Enjoy together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any sense?
No.
Ah,
No. Slowed
Ah.
down on the tattoo thing.
man. Same. Same.
Well, it's
Same.
It's one of those things where you always want to get a new one, and
Mm-hmm.
it's as soon as you get one, you're just like, I can't wait for the next one. But then I couldn't
Figure out.
figure out what, and then
You
once
just
I
didn't want to pull a Seth, you know, being like
pretty much, and once I figured out what I wanted, it's like I don't know where I want to put
Oh,
it.
you wanted Bill fucking Murray? Oh wait, do you want an Iggy Pop too?
Did you want him as a zombie?
Obviously.
Well, then there you go.
Garfield was
Done.
Just get Bill Murray as Garfield.
Actually, that's a pretty good one. I should do that.
Just never let him
I'm
forget.
coming in. Booking an
Garfield.
appointment.
Never forget.
Yeah.
Appointment next week. Garfield.
Yeah, Bill Murray hates
Hates
that
Garfield.
Garfield. Hates that Garfield like Garfield hates Mondays.
Yeah. 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 No.
Yeah.
So I'm curious as to like where you want to go back to work, or like what city you'd want to be in, or like what area, what kind of food that you'd want to go back to? Because I know it's like, although you're working for MHC Morrissey, you were kind of doing Italian food. Is that what you want to go back into when you get back out there?
I want to keep my options open. I've worked all sorts of different kinds of places, and so I kind of, I don't know. I want to see what's out there.
Yeah.
What are you cooking at home? Italian?
Sometimes. I made some Thai curry yesterday. That was lovely. I made some Indian curry last week, which was also great. Just kind of all over the board. Whatever I feel like making. Usually, I kind of give the wife an option, like what's something from a restaurant that you haven't been able to eat that you miss. So like a couple weeks ago, I made spinach artichoke dip.
Right.
She was like, "Oh, I love that."
Oh yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
I got this. I have all the stuff for it already. Let's do this. So I just made that.
I love spinach artichoke.
So it's something like that. It's like, what are you missing this week? What should we make this week?
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of really simple stuff: beans and rice, burgers, chicken on the grill. But then sometimes I get fancy. And like I made what did I make? I made coq au vin the other day.
Yeah.
I haven't made coq au vin since culinary school.
I was going to say probably since culinary school.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, why haven't I made this before? This is amazing. So just kind of having fun. I've been going through a lot of my old books, and
that's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
I did a week where I did a bunch of North African stuff.
Cool.
Some Moroccan food and things like that. Just because it's been years since I've done.
What the fuck else are you gonna do?
Right. So I just kind of to broaden my horizons, try out some new things, have some fun with it. If I'm gonna be locked inside, gardening and cooking and cleaning, might as well have fun with it.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked a little bit about like what the possibilities are, like so food trucks and like we're going to this thing in Princeton on Sunday. Check us out on patreon.com because that's where most of it is going to be. But anyways, we're going up to Princeton, and it's like basically a pop-up but on a farm, and everything's produced from the farm. Would you consider, on both ends, would you consider doing more of like, maybe I'm going to consult a lot, I'm going to do pop-ups, or even food truck? Would I start a food truck if that's what's going to be happening, right?
Yeah. I actually have thought about the consulting bit. I think that would be an interesting...
I think it'd be a good role for you.
Yeah, and I think it would be an interesting avenue to take, especially once the baby comes. Something that I don't have to do full-time, and full-time in the restaurant industry is not 40 hours. It's,
right.
Double that, if not more than that. Yeah.
So I something that I don't have to spend 10, 12 hours a day doing 6 days a week would be ideal.
Yeah.
Super ideal.
I think there are going to be a lot of restaurants that are going to be opening. With all the closures that are happening, someone's got to come in and fill the gap. So I think consulting could be an interesting approach to a solution.
I think it could be too.
Yeah, that sounds... I want to do that too. That's really... But I want to go more and more towards that, not just farm to table, but like the actual... Like, I want to be on the farm, right?
Sure.
Like, I talked to Jack a little bit about Dan Barber, but it's like that in a nutshell is what I want to be a part of, right? It's something where like the supply chain is, I have everything to do with it, right? Like, I'm going back for plant and microbial biology, right? And it's just I want to show somebody on the table that how good the soil is, right? Like, oh, you taste that squash? It's because we got badass soil, baby. You know what I mean? But I think that there's so many people in the restaurant industry are now learning that there are all these different avenues to go down, right? As before, like I have a buddy who just started doing pop-ups, right? And he got the LLC and he's going through the licensing. I have people who, they're starting their food trucks or they're looking to start a food truck, or, I think that the pop-up route is a very good avenue to go for people.
Super awesome.
Yeah. Well, it was already getting a lot of traction before COVID happened. Is that something that you would be thinking about doing? Is like doing the pop-ups and then just kind of like running your own thing, and then and when you have availability, that's what you'll do?
I mean, that's a great way to enter into catering too.
Well, I think so. And when I was in my mid-20s, I was doing some private catering at people's homes for parties and things like that.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah, so it's kind of along those same lines where it's a pop-up, but it's at your house. So I had a lot of fun doing that, and it was nice, small, manageable groups. 10.
Well, you can be more creative
people.
too, and just like it's more like this is mine.
And it's really a personal thing. You're doing it in their house, so that they're you get to do whatever you want.
A lot less overhead.
It's kind of like doing a wine dinner. I always loved doing wine dinners because it was the only, we at the golf club we do 2 a year, and it was the 2 times a year that people got to eat what I wanted them to eat.
Right.
So it was a way for me to put something in front of them that they wouldn't normally eat and kind of change the way that they look at
And it was
food.
fucking you.
I love that.
And it was you.
And it was great.
I love that.
And that's the number one thing for any chef, that when you're cooking a dish, it's you. Like when Christos talks about my gnocchi dish, like I liked it, but until he says it, it's not. It means something when he says it.
Yeah.
Before that though, it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like it's for a chef to cook something for an event or something that's just personal, I think is huge. And to do a pop-up is exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people I don't think they fully realize that, and that's part of the beauty of it, is then you go out and there's not all this like smoke and mirrors between you, because it's like at a place like Paz, like a lot of that is the institution, and it's they're going to an event and it's all these other things. But when you do a pop-up, the whole thing is you, right? It's driven by you, and usually you're the specific person cooking it. You don't have all these people under you, although that can definitely change depending on whatever. But then you see those people finally taste your dish, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times I don't need people to go, oh my God, that was amazing.
You can see it.
You just gotta look at
you
their
can see it on their face.
And that's the best part about it. Like, and you saying that, that's the number one thing. When someone says, why do you like cooking so much? It's when you see that instant gratification on the person's fucking face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at their face, even when they're taking a drink of your drink, and that you can see it, just like that smirk or the smile or whatever the fuck it is. It's beautiful.
It was one of my favorite things in an open line is when you can look out at a restaurant and you could just see the look on their face when they take a bite and then they turn to someone and they go,
Yeah.
You're just like,
You're
knocked it out of the park.
You're like looking at like what plate it was, and you're like, oh my God, that's what I made. That was all me. Yeah. So
that's dope.
I think that we're gonna see a lot more of that kind of.
I do too.
Not just the cooking, but like people are gonna eat like that. It's just gonna be out of necessity, right? But again, before COVID happened, I think that there was a push towards that.
Yeah.
There was like people wanted to be. I don't want to say more elevated, but like kind of like the Saint Dinette style of where it's elevated because of what you're cooking, but it's still a very amicable environment.
Yeah.
And I'm that's another thing I'm looking forward to, just trying to stay on the positive note of all this COVID stuff. I think that's kind of where things are going to go.
I think the super positive note is what you said, like making everything's kind of turning into like a burrow, like knowing that, like feeling that, like I didn't even think about that till you said it, and like thinking that way,
it's an interesting take on it.
Well, it's a total interesting take, and it's actually like for us, it's
hopeful.
It's the only hopeful thing we have.
Yeah, that's true.
Like to be real,
right. You're right.
Like that's an awesome take on it, man.
Yeah.
Like to be real, like I keep going back to it, but that's dope.
Well, and it's not just a positive take for us, right? We talked about earlier, why we think people are having such problems in America dealing with COVID, and it's because they don't have these communities, right? Like the communities are kind of broken. It's basically a bunch of Applebee's taped together, right?
Yeah.
Applebee's and Chili's and these chain restaurants, but not just the restaurants, right? It's giant corporations over a sprawl, like for instance in Blaine where I'm living right now, that's kind of where it is, right? And that thought where okay, we're going to actually have communities, right? We're going to have boroughs like they do in New York City, where these people are living in these buildings and you're living in close proximity to each other. It's just a beautiful thought, man.
Yeah.
Really is a beautiful thought.
Yep.
Yeah, so I can't wait. We obviously don't know if that's what is going to happen.
But that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that we start to. Yeah, I think that maybe it's time to start wrapping it up. It's been awesome. I mean, we talked to you for about an hour at Brunson's. We're talking to you, for another hour here. We'd love to have you back on the show at one point, especially like when you start finding a place where you want to go. You can come in and
we want to know about the kid, obviously.
Yeah, blast it.
Of course.
Yeah, so come back and check in with us. It was a great time, man.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. So, something super sad happened the other day. The sous chef at Hi, he was involved in a boating accident and died. And, everything that's going on already, it's, at first I was like, oh, did it happen from COVID, or did it have something to do with the riots or the political unrest, or, but it was something completely different. And it kind of brings up the thought that there's, the economic downturn is going to make it hard for the family to pay for all the costs. There's the emotional costs, and then there's the financial costs as well. So that I just want to give our condolences from the show to DJ and his family from Hi. We didn't know you personally, but you worked the line, you worked this industry, you were an artist like we were and are, and we want to say sorry. We'll put a link to the GoFundMe for his funeral costs in the show, in the credits, in the comments. So yeah, again, thank you for everything that you've done, and bon voyage, man.